Look at the camera.
Good evening and welcome to Baturdays in the BatCave, starring Bat Sam.
He wants to play with the mouse and the. Oh, there you go. He has the mouse in his hands. Uh-oh. Careful, buddy. Show him your book. Show him my first Batman book. Wow.
And the Minister of Comics and me. I'm Omnidog, just here to show cute little kids and their first Batman books.
Oh, careful, careful. We were at Lowe's and he was grabbing everything he shouldn't be grabbing. He was trying to grab the fire extinguisher. He was trying to get into the garbage. This isn't the best. Oh, now you're typing something on the screen. All right, buddy, we'll go see Mom. Say bye. Say have a good show.
Bye, Sam. Bye, Bat Sam.
Go see Mom.
Oh, there he goes. That's so cute. Okay, so today, Baturdays in the Batcave, we've got New 52, our favorite New 52 books. Pre-show Omnidog says, what was the catalyst for New 52? I think Taylor just thought of it as an idea. And I said, that sounds like a good idea. I don't know what the internet, I mean,
maybe his question is, why did the New 52 come about?
Oh, what was the catalyst for New 52?
So maybe that's something we'll get into before the topic. Because I
thought you meant, why are we covering it?
So pre-show Omnidog, that's a question we'll get into before the topic starts. And for everybody who just wants to watch our topic and not the tangents, Jess is going to put the timestamp in the description of the video, letting you know when the actual topic starts. For all of you tangenters, hang out, have fun. We'll talk about some random stuff and answer your questions. But that is the thing I want to ask you about, because you were reading the single issues of a lot of these series when they came out, where I wasn't.
New 52 or Crisis on Infinite Earths?
New 52.
Okay, yeah.
I read after the fact, a couple years later, but hearing your thoughts of hearing about the reboot, actually reading them when they came out on the stands, and then your thoughts would be really interesting to me once we get into the topic.
Okay. Yeah, I started with reading Flashpoint. Let's see. When was New 52? Was that
2011?
2011?
I believe it was 2011.
Okay, and I had just started getting back really hard into collecting again in 2008. That's when I started getting into collected editions, but I was also getting a ton of floppies, and this was all from Third Eye Comics. So they were always, I was always taking their advice. I'm still taking their advice on what's interesting to read, and I think they pointed me towards Flashpoint. They said they're rebooting the DC universe and they're starting from scratch and everybody's going to be brand new, and and they went into it. So, and I didn't know what to think until I started reading Flashpoint, and the Flashpoint series, the only thing that came out of the Flashpoint series, what I really wanted to see come out of the Flashpoint series was a depowered Superman, because that's what he was in Flashpoint. They kept him in a lead-lined vault where he couldn't see the sun, and he was just this withered little kid because
he's all emaciated.
Yeah, and that's what I really wanted the New 52 Superman to start from there. Like he breaks out in Flashpoint, but I mean, show him from that breakout point, and I wanted to see him just grow from the sun's rays and then go from there. And instead we got Superman wasn't that much changed to me in New 52. I liked Grant Morrison's action. I didn't feel like Superman was that interesting.
I think he was a lot different because I don't think he was as hopeful and aspirational as the
Well,
Clark Kent
yeah,
that we know. He was kind of a brash jerk who's kind of really stern with people.
yeah,
And he wasn't really, which is fine because that was the New 52 trying to reboot things a little bit. But people never latched on to that version of Superman. And there's
right.
not really a successful run of Superman in the New 52. That's why in Rebirth they had to take him in a different direction, having him be the son, I mean, having him be the father of Jonathan, the
Yeah.
husband of Lois. And so that was a character that really didn't get any traction in the New 52. And
Well, the best Superman in New 52 was when they killed him. The final days of Superman. That was the best thing Dan Jurgens ever wrote, I think. That was, or wait, am I mixing that up?
no, you're right. You're right about that. And then it goes, is it Lois and Clark first, or is it the Founding of Superman?
Then I think he wrote Lois and Clark, or Superman and Lois. I didn't pull those books, but those were my two. Okay, where am I here? Here we go. Final Days is Tomasi, and Lois and Clark is Jurgens. So it's Lois and Clark was Jurgens, and that's the best thing Jurgens ever wrote. Tomasi, typically he wrote a great Final Days of Superman because Tomasi is great. But that was the most interesting Superman. Ben Gene Yang's Superman, I thought was an interesting run. It didn't last very long. I think it was like the last. I think it was the last thing before they went into the final days of Superman. But I remember enjoying Gene Yang's run. But you're right, Superman, I think he's my favorite character, and I just don't think they really did much interesting with him.
Yeah,
that I could latch on like they did with Batman, which was crazy interesting, and Justice League, which also was crazy interesting. And I mean, we'll talk more about what yours and my favorite runs were. But I picked up I was fully on board for all New 52 and all of Flashpoint because I thought this is all an exciting new starting point. So I read pretty much everything that they offered in the beginning, and I quickly figured out which I didn't like and which I did like. And what I don't remember caring much for the Flash in New 52.
Yeah, the Francis Manapul run,
which I have now in omnibus form, and I still can't decide if I'm going to keep it or get rid of it.
I have the first two trades, and I'm going to be getting rid of those. It wasn't because the art's obviously fantastic. In the story, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just not something I'm going to go back to over and over again, as compared to like things like the other books we'll be talking about. I almost spoiled my choices, but I wouldn't say it's a bad book. It's hard to have a bad book with Francis Manapul on the art, but the story just is kind of meh. It's just not really super compelling. So I can see why you don't really want to keep it around.
Yeah, and I remember I loved Wonder Woman right from the start, and I loved Justice League right from the start. All-Star Western for Jonah Hex I loved. But there were a lot of I'll give DC credit because they gave a lot of writers and a lot of characters a lot of chances. They didn't just focus on the top three characters, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. I mean, that's where I fell in love with Harley Quinn, was her New 52 Connor and Palmiotti run. I really fell in love with her from the first issue. And I don't remember reading much Harley Quinn before that. I started reading a lot of previous Harley Quinn once I read that Harley Quinn, because I didn't grow up a fan or even knowing much about Harley Quinn like you did from the animated show.
So New 52 basically changed your life with Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm obsessed with her. And
You gained your comic girlfriend.
sorry?
You gained your comic girlfriend.
Yeah, she is even before like Emma Frost or Gwen Stacy or any of the Marvel characters. It's Harley's my comic book girlfriend. Um, yeah, it did change my life because I got really into a whole different character that I'd never known existed, and New 52 is because of that. I tried everything. I mean, I bought the first copies of everything, like Hawkman, which I don't think I remember digging that much. They literally just. I feel like there were 52 new titles.
That's why it was called the New 52, because there were 52 titles. So there was a lot more than they're doing right now.
Yeah,
maybe if you count the miniseries they're doing now and Black Label stuff, maybe I'm not really sure what the numbers are, but 52 ongoing titles is a lot.
Yeah, and I tried them all to see what I liked.
That's a lot of money.
Well, you didn't have to bring that up.
No, I meant for people to keep up with all of them. I mean, like for someone to be able to keep up with every single. I wasn't talking about you specifically. I meant trying to keep up with 52 titles. Not just DC. If you also want to read Marvel or independent stuff, and that's a lot of money to try to throw DC's way if you want to keep up with everything.
Yeah, and I probably did. It was not until about 2015 that I really started to get into Marvel. Even though I started collecting Marvel big collected editions to read, I feel like it was around 2013, 2014 in that time period when they Third Eye Comics started suggesting things like Astonishing X-Men and the Ultimates and Uncanny X-Force and New X-Men, and those were my gateway into Marvel. The Bendis Daredevil,
New X-Men,
New X-Men.
Uncanny X-Force.
Sorry,
I think you read Astonishing X-Men, New X-Men, and Uncanny X-Force were big ones.
That and Ultimates were, I think, the first four things they in Omniform that they told me to get. And that was my gateway into Marvel, because up until then I had concentrated all on DC.
And Matt's has a big compliment for you, Jess, at 7-Eleven.
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't even been following the compliments.
The timestamp, I mean, not the convenience store, not the gas station.
Who does?
Matt's at 7-Eleven.
That's a convenience store?
I meant the gas station. You ever heard of 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say it's a gas station. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good, Matt. That's great. I'm really glad. So a lot of things fell by the wayside, but I always stayed with Batman. I had a full run of Batman. I read Batman Eternal, Batman and Robin Eternal, and Justice League Dark. I didn't like. I can't remember if they called him Constantine then, but I didn't like the New 52 John Constantine, and I haven't liked him until they finally got it right and then yanked the chain out of Cy Spurrier.
We'll see how Tom Taylor does.
Right.
We'll see how Tom Taylor does with his new miniseries with Black Label, with him and Derek Robertson.
Yeah.
That should be pretty good. Yeah, let us know in the comments what your least favorite New 52 comics are. Before we get to the positive, anything that you guys really didn't like.
Yeah. T-Lar Blunt is asking if Superman is my favorite character. I think since childhood, it's really been Superman that I've always cared for the most. So having read all those, I latched on to, I wish I had a full set of New 52 in front of me. I even read, I liked Batwing. He was like a new character to me. I don't
remember. An omnibus pretty soon.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Wonder Woman. I can't think of all the titles. Oh, Batgirl. I just got this. This was good. Batgirl Returns. That was good. Of course, what attracted me was the Adam Hughes cover on the first issue. That is a classic cover.
Did you read through the Batgirl of Burnside, or did you stop at that point?
I haven't read it, but I want to read it.
But well, the omnibus got announced, so you will be able to read it.
Yeah. Let's see. Suicide Squad. Matt's didn't like it. I read it because of Harley, and I make myself read Suicide Squad because Harley's in it. I force myself.
I've heard Tom Taylor's run's really good so far, but was there really a great Suicide Squad run since like John Ostrander's run? Really?
Has there been?
Yeah, has there really been one that you've read that you really latched onto since John Ostrander?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But I've heard Tom Taylor's run is like the best Suicide Squad has been for a long time.
Oh, well, that's great.
Which isn't surprising because Tom Taylor, he hasn't written anything bad that I've read, at least. Maybe he's written something bad that I haven't even heard about, but
yeah,
everything I've read is great.
They never published it if it was bad, I don't think. So it was a lot to take in, but it was a lot to be excited for too, I thought. Because some creators, like with Justice League, what I liked was, like Green Lantern, they were starting like from super scratch. I highlighted which is still my favorite page in New 52 comics overall, where in Justice League, Green Lantern sees Batman and says, "You're real?" And Batman says, "And you're too bright. You're too damn bright. Turn down the light before they see us." And to me, that's what I liked about the New 52. Like Green Lantern thought Batman was a myth, and he's seeing Batman for the first time, and Batman, he's excited. Batman's real. And here's this guy with a green power ring going, "You're real?" And I just that was the excitement of the New 52 was Batman was just starting out, where he was like almost a myth, and these people were encountering him for the first time.
Yeah, I liked. I know you didn't see the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and what I'm about to say isn't a spoiler at all. But there's a conversation that Cyborg has with Batman. He's like, "I never thought you were real," and Batman says, "I'm real when it suits me." Like he doesn't want people to know that he's real unless he really wants them to. Unless there's a plan for that. He wants to be like an urban myth. He wants to be viewed as a creature of the shadows, which I really like that line.
Cool. That is a cool line.
And if you like that Justice League moment, you should watch Justice League Origin, the DC animated movie. That's a adaptation of that first arc of Jeff Johns' run.
Oh, okay.
I think you would love that and Flashpoint Paradox, which is an adaptation of Flashpoint.
Okay.
So I know you want to get more into DC animated. Those are some good movies to get you started.
Yeah, I definitely do.
And Spencer Wooten says Teen Titans was pretty bad. Do you remember reading the New 52 Teen Titans?
I remember not really caring for Teen Titans in New 52. I don't recall caring for Hawkman that much. The current Hawkman, which just had its fourth paperback come out, is really good by Venditti. That's the Hawkman I've been waiting for.
Do you think it's better than Jeff Johns' run?
It's much different.
Okay. I know Jeff Johns was kind of like the standard up until this point.
Yeah.
Not that there's been a lot of Hawkman books.
Sorry?
Not that there's been a lot of Hawkman books anyway.
Right. Let's see. What else?
And Ian Lawrence asked if we read Scott Snyder's Superman Unchained. For me, that is one of the only good Superman books of that era. And I know Jess and I are in the minority of actually liking that series.
Yeah.
It's like a mindless popcorn munching blockbuster movie, which I really enjoyed it. Was it the best New 52 book? No, but it was a ton of fun.
I loved it. I don't care what anybody thinks. I loved it. It was fun. I'd be happy to go back, and it's one of the things that I'm definitely keeping to reread as I purge and repurge. Aquaman was great for the first time. That was when the Third Eye was really hyped on, because I wasn't going to pick up Aquaman, but they sold me on Aquaman. They gave me like a 10-minute sales talk on Aquaman. And of course, Aquaman was the most interesting he'd ever been.
Those first several issues, he's kind of like justifying why Aquaman is cool. And he kind of brings up all the reasons that people give for why Aquaman's lame. He's kind of like destroys them and throws them to the side.
Right. No, that's a Jeff Johns book, right?
Right.
Yeah. He wrote a lot of good New 52 stuff.
I think he's the best at taking characters people don't think about or think are lame and showing people how cool they are. That's kind of what he's famous for. Like, he's done a lot of work on Superman. He hasn't done much work on Batman besides Earth 1, but he's done like Booster Gold. He did Aquaman. I mean, The Flash is obviously popular already. Teen Titans, like, he's taken some characters out of obscurity to some degree and shown people how amazing they are. Shazam, also a great title from the New 52.
Yeah.
That was more of the backups of Justice League, but still, I love that origin story. That was the basis for the Shazam movie.
Yeah, that Zero issue was great. I remember reading that and coming in to talking to Steve at Third Eye and just saying, this Billy Batson is awesome. And we had a big long talk about Shazam, because I'm still not a huge proponent of Shazam, even though it's been 40 years being in the DC universe. I still have problems with Captain Marvel being in the Justice League and even existing. So you'd think I'd eventually accept it. And the fact that he's called Shazam.
Well, the question I have for you, it sounds like you were actually excited hearing about the reboot. Was there any part of you, as reading these characters for probably around 40 years at that point, because it was about 10 years ago, was there any part of you that was like, really? You're going to redo everything? Like, did it kind of feel like it was kind of scrubbing away all the things you'd read for 40 years? Did you feel any annoyance at all?
Oh, no, I was excited for it. Yeah.
Because a lot of people your age, of your generation, gave up on comics completely because of that. Or gave up on DC at least.
Because they gave up on it because of the New 52?
I think there's a lot of older fans that kind of gave up on it because they were just mad about the reboot. And then there were other fans who kind of were brought in because of the new jumping on point.
I was excited about it. I was excited to see where it was all going to go. I think I think Flashpoint gave them the basis to start fresh, but I don't know that they really followed through on a lot of things that Flashpoint brought up, or in the alternative universe that it was. I felt like there could have been even more drawn from Flashpoint, but I was still excited. I was excited at the chance to see what the new characters, the new sort of iteration of the characters would be like.
So before we move on, I've been called to account to give a promotion for "Love Is Like a Pair of Pants" by Tyler Blunt, because he finally sent me the song, and part of the deal was I had to promote it at his beck and call. So I don't know how I'm going to promote this because you have no access to it. So it seems like a dumb promotion because I can't give it to you at all. And Jess tried playing this song on his phone. It didn't go well a couple weeks ago. So I guess just know that "Love Is Like a Pair of Pants" is a song that Tyler wrote and recorded. And maybe at some point you'll be able to listen to it.
I love that song. actually.
It's annoyingly catchy, though.
It's what?
It's annoyingly catchy. It'll be stuck in your mind. My wife kept asking me, why do you keep singing that or humming that? And so I had to get Tyler to send it to me so I could show it to her. So she could know what I was doing.
Yeah. I love Love is Like a Pair of Pants. And I'm sorry it didn't work out. I got to figure out how to get music from my computer or phone to sound better on the computer. Because I mean, you can hear me speak. If I have it playing from my phone, it should work. I'll have Gio help me figure that out, because you guys really need to hear the song.
Well, apparently I messed up what he actually wanted me to do. I'm sorry, Tyler. It's hard to read a long text. I'm on a show. He wanted me to promote his channel, Super Squad D, on YouTube in exchange for Love is Like a Pair of Pants. So this is actually in my own self-interest, because Tyler and I just started a new monthly series on his channel, Super Squad D, all about toy photography. So if you're into that, go over to Super Squad D, give him a subscribe, give him a like, give him a comment, and watch our action figure photography series, which I'm sure Jess will be watching soon because he wants to also get into this new hobby.
I do, and I am so impressed that a year ago Taylor Brown didn't have any action figures, and now he's hosting a show on action figure photography. That is awesome.
I can show some of my pictures I have.
Go for it.
I don't want to show them. I'm going to post tomorrow on my Instagram. Shameless plug at Minister of Comics on Instagram, where I post my book reviews, my hauls, top fives, and some of my toy photography. So let me show you one of my favorite ones. I'll show you two or three. Then I don't want this to be totally a shameless plug. But why not? Tyler made me do it for him, so I might as well do it for myself.
Yeah, why not?
Let me know if you can see it.
Is that Thomas Wayne?
Yeah, it's Flashpoint Batman versus the Grim Knight.
Ah.
And so what I've been doing is using my wife's iMac, which I am on right now, as the background for my pictures. And so what you want to do with pictures like this, the temptation is to have the background be in focus, but that's not how pictures work in general. You want the background to be blurred. It helps it look more realistic and actually look like it's not a computer screen. So that's one helpful tip I can give. I also I got this new Flash one. I like this one I just took of him running into the Speed Force. And what else do I got here? My Miles Morales one. This is the first picture I ever took.
Oh, I like that one.
I like that one too. So the whole point of this series is Tyler and I trying to show you that anyone can do toy photography. You don't even need to have a fancy camera like I do. The only reason why I have nice cameras is because my wife's a photographer. That's her job. And all you need is a phone and an action figure, which is what Jess has. Jess has one of those in abundance, the action figures. And you also have a cell phone, so you can be an action figure photographer. You don't need to have a nice camera or edit your pictures on Lightroom or Photoshop to be a toy photographer.
I want to answer Mr. Awesome's question. How's your Batman animated watch through? Best worst episode so far? You get to Almost Got Him, one of my favorites. I think Almost Got Him was the last one I watched. Let me see where I am here.
I think you rewatched Almost Got Him, didn't you?
That was my second time seeing it, yeah. Let's see. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What is reality? Really awful animation, very boring story. Oh, I didn't like that one.
Which one? I'm sorry.
What is reality?
Okay.
After that,
is that the one where the Riddler has Commissioner Gordon in that machine where he's locked away in that machine in virtual reality?
I'm gonna have to go back and look at it because I don't say who's in it. That was the last one that that was number 48. That's where I stopped. Before that was Birds of a Feather, which was a really good Penguin episode. I love Paul, what's his name, is Penguin's voice. The songwriter, Paul Williams. And Almost Got Him is really great. I said fantastic, but Two-Face said he was robbing Goth of $2 bills, but he had coins and gold bullion. So where were the $2 bills? To me, that's something you'd say.
Yeah,
That's not a
that's reaching for a criticism there, because there's nothing else really.
I don't think so. He wants to rob Gotham with $2 bills, but all he's got is coins and gold bullion. Where are the $2 bills? But he
that sounds like you're really reaching for a criticism.
No, he has, and Batman kills a guy when the coin lands on a crook.
He didn't kill him.
Remember
they were just hurt.
The coin, if it landed on Batman, was supposed to kill him. I should know better than to try and argue.
Batman knows how to make a coin land on people to not kill them, just to maim them. It's also a cartoon, so you kind of have to give it some room, Jess. Cartoons. I mean, look at all the cartoons you've watched and how there's crazy things happen in them. Suspend your disbelief to some degree, Jess.
Okay, I'm going to hold on to that from you for the next nitpicky criticism I get for comic books.
You become more nitpicky because of me, which I'm actually pretty happy about. You used to just stroll through life enjoying everything until I came around. Then you're like, I opened your eyes to the smallest things that don't really even matter. What was the series? Oh, like I was reading this. I had a Hawkeye readathon recently. I read this. I loved the Jeff Lemire. Yeah, Hawkeye. I love the Jeff Lemire, Ramon Perez stuff, but it has some of the worst continuity errors and just logical errors that are so annoying because it's like, was the editor on vacation while this book was being made? There's just so many obvious mistakes that was so frustrating, and it unfortunately kind of drops the enjoyment level of it when that kind of stuff happens, even though I think the run itself is fantastic. So it's just frustrating when that kind of stuff happens in comics. Like whenever you're flying from New York City to New York City.
That was a legit criticism.
I remember I kind of ruined the book for you a little bit when I told you about that one.
You did. I was really excited about that book. And then I was like, whoa, it doesn't make any sense at all now.
There are some leaps in logic and obvious continuity errors that can really dig under your skin if you think about it too much.
Yeah, and I tend to avoid. I don't even notice them really. I only did that for Almost Got Him because I know it's your favorite episode.
So you wanted me to? So you were trying to ruin it for me.
I am the way you ruin books for me.
Oh, I've never ruined your favorite books though. I'm not going to pull out New 52 Harley Quinn and just like crap all over it. I'm sorry I ruined the Matador for you, that masterpiece.
That was awful, I know.
You should be thanking me because I helped you realize how Devin Grayson is not someone you should read.
Oh my gosh.
So you should be thanking me, actually.
I have so much Nightwing by her.
Have you heard much about her Nightwing, if it's good or not?
I don't know. Oh yeah, no, they do. She does have one weird Nightwing. There is some kind of weird sexual Nightwing moment. I can't think of what it is. Maybe the chat knows that Devin Grayson wrote that Omar always talks about. I can't think of what it is though. I haven't. I can't think of it.
Yeah, Tyler Blunt and I were talking about that recently. How the early 2000s sexual assault was used so often as a plot device, like a lot. And that seemed to be a really big trend back then. I don't think it's as big of a trend now, but that was a really big thing in comics back then.
That's interesting that it was a trend.
I think a lot of times people used it just to be edgy and they used that to raise the stakes. That seemed to be a big trend back then that I don't see happening as much or at all anymore. Just if you're reading early 2000 comics, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you kind of see those things appear. It happens a lot more than you'd think.
See, I jump around so much in time periods in comics that I don't read a certain era's comics for that whole era, except for like New 52 and recently with Dawn of X, where I just did a video on that. That's really the most, because usually I just go to the shelf and grab what looks interesting and read that. I rarely read, like I wouldn't know that the 2000s were a sexual assault, that was a trend there, because I don't think I've read like 2000 through 2005 of any particular run, I'll just go and grab things off the shelf and read those books.
The two big examples we were thinking of, we had that conversation because he was reading through the Authority omnibus and Mark Millar. That's kind of his big thing. If you read a lot of Mark Millar books, that's a big trend.
That is true.
Identity Crisis, that was a big one.
That's true.
Well,
yeah,
I think that was just a trend that was really used by writers to raise the stakes or make a story seem really edgy, and it seems like that's kind of gone away to a certain degree. That's my perception, at least.
Yeah, Tyler and I both had a conversation about Mark Millar in general. Hit Girl 2 was awful because of that rape that happened in it, and it was used to give it wasn't used to propel the story forward. Not that I'm trying to justify rape, but it was to give the hero a reason for vengeance. And I think that is a shitty plot device. But Mark Millar throws around rape and sexual assault and the demeaning of women around like it's nothing.
I think the three best books that kind of avoid a lot of these trends for him one is Red Sun. I think that's his most accessible book. And then Old Man Logan. That's a very violent book, but he kind of goes against some of his natural tendencies with shock value. And then I really like The Magic Order. Magic Order is great. Yeah, that was a really good Mark Millar. I was called Mark Millar. Mark Millar book. I really hope he returns to that series because I really enjoyed it.
And Jupiter's Legacy, he doesn't use it either, and I like that series.
Oh, I've heard, because the Netflix show is coming out this year.
Yeah, he doesn't use it in that, so hopefully he's left it behind.
I should check that out on Hoopla before the show comes out. I do want to read it.
Good. Yeah, I need to reread it. I've only read it once, but I need to reread it.
Yeah, we should try rereading it around the same time then.
Yeah, okay.
We can talk about
it. Let's see. Swamp Thing by Snyder was good. In New 52, I liked. I think you liked it too.
Do you want to get into our top 5 now?
Yeah, sure.
We kind of started the topic at the beginning, which never really happens.
I know it's.
So then we can jump into tangents afterwards. Then
I think it's fine that we actually have a topic and just stay on the topic.
Do you just want to throw out any of them, or do you want to go from 5 to 4 to 3 to 1?
I don't know that I have them in any particular order because the ones that you have I also like, and I just grabbed the other ones. I just grabbed the other ones to make sure they got coverage.
Well, let me just talk about the ones I just finished recently. I just finished after my Hawkeye readathon. I did a Swamp Thing readathon, which Jess sent me. Because Jess got the omnibus, of New 52 Swamp Thing, so he sent me the deluxe hardcover, which is out of print, of Scott Snyder's run, and all the trades of Charles Soule's run. So I just finished Charles Soule's run earlier today.
Oh, good.
I loved both of these books, both series. I think they're both, I can't think of one I enjoyed better. They're both great for different reasons. Ooh. I would say that Scott Snyder's run is more of like a blockbuster horror movie. It's like a ramped up version of The Thing by John Carpenter. There were some really big gross out moments in this series with the rot. Jess, do you remember this book at all when you read it in singles?
Yeah. I remember it in Animal Man. Animal Man was good too.
I think Scott Snyder's at his best when he's doing horror. And that's what he's doing here. Yeah. Like these little ants that go into people's noses and make them twist their heads around. Or I think it was actually flies. This is super gross. That's like how the rot turns people into their slaves, is by using these flies to swarm into their mouths and their noses and twist their heads around. And Anton Arcane is the main villain, and he is super creepy in this book. So this really leans into the horror of Swamp Thing. And I would say that Charles Soule, he more gets into the epic fantasy and lore of Swamp Thing, which I really like. And they're both very different, but they're both equally great to me. And the Jesus Saiz art is also great. I think Jesus did a lot of Doctor Strange with Mark Waid. Have you read that Mark Waid Doctor Strange stuff yet, Jess?
No, I haven't read the Mark Waid stuff.
I'm holding out for a hardcover.
Oh,
I'd
well,
love to see a hardcover.
you're getting it because I have the trade.
Or getting an omnibus of that would be great too.
Sure.
But I've had a ton of fun with these books because to my shame, I've never read any Swamp Thing before these books. This is the first Swamp Thing I've ever read. And I know people are going to be like, I can't believe you've never read the Alan Moore Swamp Thing. I definitely want to go back to it now and get all the trades. I'd rather have the original coloring. That's just my personal opinion. I'd rather see the original art as it was presented back in the 80s. I know everyone has a different opinion about that. But I'm going to probably pick up the trades in the very near future because I love Alec Holland's Swamp Thing. And Jess and I interviewed Ram V, and we're really excited to read his Swamp Thing as well.
Yeah. And
I believe it's a new avatar. It's not Alec Holland.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
I just thought of another New 52 book that I had bound. So let me go get it because it's going to replace one of the books now that I thought of it. It's out here. So I'm going to go off camera like a pro. So just a sec.
And I reviewed on my Minister of Comics Instagram handle, which I have right here. I reviewed both of these series over the past couple of days, and I did a poll of which series people enjoyed more. And as of right now, 69% of my voters enjoyed Scott Snyder's run more, while 31% of people enjoyed Charles Soule's run more. So right now, Scott Snyder is the winner. But like I already said, I think both of them are really equal in their entertainment value and their quality. I loved the ending of Scott Snyder's run. It was one of the most beautifully poignant, tragic moments in comics that I've read in a while. Whereas I thought Charles Soule's run was a little bit at the end. The very ending issue was a bit rushed, but I thought it was more consistent all the way through. So they're both great in my opinion, and everyone should check them out and pick up the New 52 Omnibus that just dropped. I believe it's still readily available.
I think it is too.
That's the good thing about DC Omnis. They usually stick around longer than Marvel Omnis.
Yeah. I just now remembered Red Lanterns.
Oh, right.
I had this custom bound, and this is the cover of Bleeze that I love so much. The best arc is when Supergirl becomes a Red Lantern. This has Peter Milligan and Charles Soule's run. This looks pretty good. Oh, it's because I have the trade paperbacks turned in so there's no ads in it.
Oh, nice.
But when Supergirl becomes a Red Lantern, that's a Charles Soule creation, and that was great. But I also liked Peter Milligan's run. Some people don't, but I love the whole Red Lanterns idea with Guy Gardner leading them. The whole thing, and Atrocitus and his cat and everything, and the whole thing was great. This is I'll make this my number 2 pick if I have to. I'm just grabbing it right now because I didn't want to forget that it was out there with my other custom bound books.
Yeah, Swamp Thing
was awesome.
Swamp Thing's my number 5 pick.
Okay, this is my number 2 pick.
That's
Red
fine.
Lanterns.
I just thought since you're labeling yours, I'll label mine.
Okay.
And bringing up Red Lanterns really reminds me of why I like Charles Soule run so much, because it's not just the green, it's not just the red, which is the animal life, or the rot, which is like decay. He also brings in the mycos, which is like fungus. He brings in bacteria. He brings in new machine avatars too. So he kind of brings all these new different parts to the lore, which are really interesting to me. Kind of like how Jeff Johns did with the emotional spectrum back in the day.
Yeah.
Which was, the mark of a good idea when you think to yourself, how did no one think of that before this person had that idea? Like, it's such an obvious idea, but it's so genius that he thought of that.
It is genius, but I was outraged when I first heard about it.
Were you?
Yeah, it was. It was actually. I'll tell you exactly when I heard about it. I was in an AA meeting, and this girl, she's probably 30, in her 30s, and she was getting sober right around the time I was. So I got sober starting in 2008, and she told me about the emotional spectrum, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? There's Green Lantern and that's it. And she talked about the emotional spectrum and the Red Lanterns and everything. And I'm like, so I was angry for a while that they messed with it. And she said, no, you really have to read it. So she and I bonded over comic books. She moved away, so I don't know if she stayed in the program or not. But she got me into the emotional spectrum, and I really dug it. But I hated the idea at the time. Of course, I'm still a Hal Jordan is the only Green Lantern type of guy. So it was shocking to me that there were other colors of rings. So yeah, it is a genius move, but I was pissed when I first heard it.
So you were happily proven wrong.
Oh, very happily.
I think Blackest Night is still one of the best comic events of all time. I love that story.
Yeah, I have that custom bound too.
Now it's a huge, massive omnibus.
Yeah, I have everything and the tie-ins, and then I have Brightest Day also. I know people spit on Brightest Day, but I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it, and I collected it in singles, and that's what I had custom bound. But yeah, Blackest Night I thought was great.
I know a lot of people like Sinestro Corps War. They're both pretty close.
Yeah, Sinestro Corps War was good.
I think Sinestro Corps War has my favorite moment in the entire series, which we talked about recently. Whenever Coast City no one leaves, and they all put green lights in their windows to show they're not leaving. They support Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And that was such a great moment because Hal Jordan had a lot of redemption leading up to that point because he was used by Parallax. He was used by Spectre kind of against his will. He did a lot of horrible things, and it was great to see his city and his family stand behind him. So they're both kind of equal to me, Sinestro Corps War and Blackest Night, for different reasons.
No, the only thing I like about JLI Guy Gardner is when Batman drops him with one punch. Shoot, what were you just talking about?
Oh, you hated the emotional spectrum at first.
Yeah, emotional spectrum.
Red Lanterns?
I can't get the thought back. That's okay. The redemption of Hal Jordan, yeah. I think my number. I'll go for what's number 3. Oh, that's what it was. I was going to reach for a new 52 title that we hadn't mentioned yet, and it went out of my head. I wonder if somebody else mentioned it. I'll think of it. It was another new 52 title that was really good, but I don't think it got much traction. I loved All-Star Western with Jonah Hex. I have all the trades, which I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they're still affordable, used from like a third party on Amazon. They're out of print, but they're not as hard to find as the Jonah Hex series that came before it, written by the same guys, Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti. Ooh, this one has a Darwin Cook story in it too. But All-Star Western was just more Jonah Hex, New 52 Jonah Hex, and nothing changes about him except for the fact that it's more Jonah Hex, which is awesome. I love Jonah Hex. I loved him from when I was a little kid. I still have All-Star Western 10 or whatever that first issue was. I still have that one. I liked him from the very beginning, and I've always had a soft spot for Jonah Hex. And I was happy that they gave him the 34 issues or whatever they did. I'd have been happier if they have given him more, but given that Jonah Hex is B or C level, I think I'm probably lucky that I got anything at all. So this, I will say, is my number 3 pick.
Just wait until you get to the Jonah Hex episode in Batman the Animated Series. That's written by Joe R. Lansdale.
Oh.
He's a fantastic crime writer.
Well, and there's a short animated of him, right? There's a whole series of shorts that are on the Superman versus Shazam CD, I think, that Gabe always tells me about. And Geo, Spectre, and Jonah Hex, and then there's 2 or 3 other shorts that are all really great.
Yeah, because the Jonah Hex short was originally on the Batman Under the Red Hood Blu-ray and DVD, which I
Okay.
have. So yeah, it actually is really good. And I love that episode from the animated series. And I really want to read that run. It's just hard to get all of them. Like you said, I don't think they're super expensive, but it's kind of annoying to track down individual paperbacks sometimes when there's like 7 of them. And somebody brought up I, Vampire. Was that the series you were thinking of?
No, because that is my number 5 choice.
Okay. I was trying to see if I could help you out. Remember?
Thank you.
Forgot.
Johnny Irwin, as we're talking about New 52, our favorite New 52 titles. And thank you for joining. It's okay if you're late. People are talking about the Dial H book by China Melville. Dial HOHC is on Amazon for $17.59. I liked that a lot. Let me see. I thought I had my eye on it. There it is.
I'm pretty sure it's on Hamilton Books for like $6 too.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great website for those of you who haven't heard about it. Jess and I both love Hamilton Books. We order.
Yeah, Hamilton's great. This is a very different take, to say the least, on Dial H for Hero. It's a really out there book, but I thought this was DC taking another chance on a writer's vision, and I appreciate it anytime. This was, I think, my first DC Deluxe that I ever bought. And this was Dial H. I didn't read this in singles, but this is an author, a celebrated author that actually made a good comic book. Some of them do, some of them don't make the transition, but China Melville did. And this is way out there, but way good. And so don't go blind by this, because it's very, very different than the regular Dial H for Hero. It's really freaky and flaky, but I loved it. And I cherish this book. This was the first DC Deluxe that I got, I think. And I love this book. So whoever brought it up in the chat, thanks for bringing that up, because this was a good sort of little pocket New 52 book.
Have you picked up the Dial H for Hero series that I don't know if it's still going on or not. I think Sam Humphries did it, or I can't remember who did it. But did you hear about that?
It's current?
Yeah, because you know how Brian Bendis has that Wonder line or something? I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. He has that. There's Dial H for Hero. There's Naomi. There's the Wonder Twins, I think, by Mark Russell.
Wonder Comics, right?
Right, Wonder Comics. I think there's a Dial H for Hero. I think it's by Sam Humphries.
Okay. I'll try that. Wait, do I like Sam Humphries? Who was it that I don't like that wrote?
Steve Orlando.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. Ooh, Sam Humphries didn't care for his Harley Quinn. Ooh, and
I'm pretty sure Dial H for Hero will probably be on Hoopla, so you can probably read it there.
Okay. Yeah, no. I bought it and made myself read it, but I didn't enjoy it.
Hayden McGee's agreeing with you. He's saying that run of Harley Quinn was trash.
Yeah, Hayden and I pretty much see eye to eye on all Harley Quinn. He and I agree on what we like and what we don't like.
This is a good question. I think we've talked about before, Jess, by pre-show Omnidog, your previous self. How about the new 52? Yeah, how about the new 52 romance of Superman and Wonder Woman? I'm pretty sure I know your answer to this, and I think we both have different answers to this question.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
I wasn't a fan of it. I just really do love Superman and Lois together.
Yeah,
I'm watching the Superman animated series of this right now because it's all on HBO Max, I love it. I just get so tired of Lois not knowing that Clark is Superman. She's like the smartest woman in the DC universe. It's like it's like all of you are idiots in the Daily Planet. Can't you figure this out? I mean, I know that's the biggest suspension of disbelief with Superman. It's not that he's an alien. It's not that he has all these powers. It's that no one knows he's Clark Kent. He has that stupid spit curl and the glasses. Everyone's like, oh, well, I don't know who Superman is. But I think it kind of undermines her intelligence in some ways.
Oh.
And I like how Man of Steel, like she knows who he is like immediately.
Right.
I really love that dynamic between her and Clark together. I really like that Superman and Lois show that's on right now. I just love him and Lois together, especially in like Superman Rebirth, things like that. For some reason, I just see Superman and Wonder Woman as brother and sister. Like really close.
Ew, that's icky.
No, I'm just saying my perception of them is like brother and sister. I'm not saying that I view their romance that way. I just like that dynamic.
You view their romance as brother and sister?
No, I'm saying I view them as like brother and sister. So when they made that romance happen, it just didn't feel right to me.
Right. I get it, but I also liked it because it made sense to me that the two most powerful man and woman in the DC universe would fall for each other. And that's why I really dug that whole series. I still have it in standard hardcover. Superman Batman had its high points and low points. It wasn't consistent. I have that in hardcover too. But I thought Superman Wonder Woman was consistently good for me. And I understand your point. But for me, I really loved Superman and Wonder Woman because it made sense to me. I have Jess from NM40, whose Kalax shelf idea has saved me immensely. But of my 25 cubes, and man, I am now down to 1 cube that has not been double stuffed. And it's because I've got all the New Mutants figures there, and they are a hassle to set up because Warlock was a Build-A-Figure, and he's very delicate, and I don't want to move him. And I've got Magic, and let's see if I can get a picture here. See, I don't want to mess with this because Boom Boom's there, who now apparently has a drinking problem. But all these guys are perfectly set up right there, and I don't know where else I'm going to put them for display, but that's my last place that I can double stuff on my Kalax.
What do you like better, Jess? Double stuffed Oreos or double stuffed Kalax shelves?
No question. Double stuffed Oreos.
That's the only kind of Oreo I even like anymore. Don't even give me the original anymore.
Oh,
double stuffed is all I want.
I would turn down a regular Oreo.
Not enough cream at all.
No, not at all.
You know what's really good, Jess? Did you ever put peanut butter on your double stuffed Oreo?
I think I might have.
My wife loves doing that. She like said this is something you really need to try, and I love it. It's so good. It's either I like doing it. There's always 3 options. It really depends on what I'm in the mood for. Because whenever you dip an Oreo in milk, it tastes so much different than an Oreo dry.
Oh, it's so good in milk when you dip it. Yeah,
it's still good without the milk, but it's a totally different flavor and like consistency.
Yeah,
and the peanut butter is also a totally different flavor too. So I love all 3 of those options.
There is a 4th option, and that is I unscrew like 6 or 7 double stuffs and pack them together like corn on the cob. And so I got the idea from Modern Family, where Luke was trying to eat it like this, and his father comes up and goes, "Luke, you tip it over like this." And so I stack them as big as I can and then just chomp into all this stuffing. But to get back to your question, yeah, I love Gotham City Sirens and Man 40. I love about 2/3 of it, and then the last third is just okay. I have it in singles, and I had it in hardcovers, and I sold the hardcovers, and now I have it in omnibus. I probably should start selling my Harley singles because I now have almost everything Harley in hardcover. Except I don't have the whole Carl Kessel run in hardcover. I feel like there's one more that's supposed to come out. Batwoman was another one that I liked until the ending in New 52, until it just cut off.
Both series didn't really get an ending. Both Greg Rucka's run and J.H. Williams' run both didn't have the ending that they wanted because Rucka left the title, kind of got pushed out in some ways. So he left before he got to finish his ending, and then J.H. Williams is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, because of that dopey no marriage policy, I bound my copies of Batwoman, and I love them for what they are. I wish they had finished, but I still enjoy the stories that we were given, and they were really good.
And Bobby Keating has a really fun fact about Oreos, Jess. About your favorite part of the Oreo.
Fun fact: the factories that produce Oreos refer to the cream as the tickle.
I never would have guessed that in a million years.
No way. You could give me 10 years of guessing and I would have never said the tickle.
Well, I can go through my fourth choice. We can both go in different orders that we want to.
I want to highlight two things. Dang, Jess is 40, and then wait, where's the great? Yes, he's only 40, but he had a very challenging 30s.
Yeah, your 30s were as long as the past year of COVID has been.
Yeah, woof, my 30s were tough on me.
It's not the age, it's the mileage.
Right.
Can you label that movie, Jess, from that line?
Oh, say it again?
It's not the age, it's the mileage.
Oh, yeah, no.
Or the years. It's not the years, it's the mileage. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It's what?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, okay.
Remember whenever they're on the ship and he's like all injured and stuff? He goes, it's not the years, it's the mileage. So my fourth pick is Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to find all these trades really cheap, and I love this series. I think they really took the reboot in a really interesting direction, and how they made her the daughter of Zeus and really tied a lot into Greek mythology, which I really liked. Jess, do you have a preference over whether Diana is made of clay or a daughter of Zeus?
I don't mind either one.
I know some people feel strongly either way.
Really? I don't care.
I think this is a really interesting new take. And I liked how the whole run was almost like one big story, which doesn't happen a lot, especially in superhero comics. So I really, really loved this book. I read it recently. I think everyone needs to check it out. There's an omnibus, and there's also 2 absolute editions. I think this is one of my favorite Wonder Woman stories, along with the Hikatea.
Yeah.
Hikatea is fantastic.
Hikatea is great. Screaming Fingers, you just missed our discussion about Snyder's Swamp Thing, Omni, Snyder Swamp Thing. Short answer, Taylor loves it, and I'm going to love it when I get it.
Well, you love this. You love the Snyder run, didn't you read that?
I did. Yeah, I read it a couple times. I never got to the Soule run, which is why those books are in such good condition that I sent you, because I'd never opened them. But I'll read the whole thing through once I get it. So Screaming Fingers, totally think you should get it. Absolutely get it. Oh, Next Imaginaut's leaving. I have to leave, but wanted to ask whether you could read and comment on my earlier question about David Lapham and Stray Bullets.
Can you put your question in the comments again so we don't have to scroll all the way through?
Yeah, you asked it earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't get to it. Uber Alice, it was something about Uber Alice, the big collected thing. Next Imaginaut. No, doot. Oh, we missed. Boy, I missed a lot of the chat. Sorry, guys. Okay, I got cut off. I can't scroll back any further than wow, this is a new thing. I can't scroll back any further than 7:45.
Yeah, the same thing too.
Can you give us your question again really quick?
Well, while we're waiting for that, Jess, 805, Reaper XC, our compliment guy, giving us a good compliment.
Thank you, buddy.
And now he's into Tyler Blunt as well.
Ah, the acquired taste, Tyler Blunt. Wait, what is this? I'm sorry, I don't understand. Okay, wait. Damn, missed the chunky bit. Drifted off, so I guess I need... You drifted off during our show? Look at this tomorrow again. You reached no one yet? What? I don't know about that.
If you guys fall asleep during our show, you don't have to tell us. We'd rather not know.
Yeah, I don't know what that comment is referring to. Johnny Irwin just had chicken pot pie for dinner. I think that's awesome. I love chicken pot pie.
I had a nice pizza for dinner.
I had... They're the Batman and Robin of the YouTube comic community. Oh, number one. Number one.
Yeah, Jess kind of is my Robin, isn't he?
I'll be Robin if I can be 15 again.
Yeah, if you're 40, then you can be Robin.
What happened with T-Bone's toy haul? Did his wife kill him? No, he's still alive. Did he tell her about it yet? Or
yeah.
He did. I'm never worrying about him again. Ever. Ever.
Yeah, he just doesn't want his wife to see the big box that comes in. That's his thing. He's okay with telling her. He just doesn't want the visual being right there.
Yeah, well, he's never getting my sympathy again.
Yeah, Tyler, if you're still watching, Tyler, come on the show and justify why we should be worried for you.
No, I'm not letting him on the show at all. Jerk. He gets me all wound up. Guys, I only have a 10-minute window. It's a miracle it got delivered. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And then he tells his wife anyway. So why was I worried?
It's like bragging about getting away with murder, then confessing 20 minutes later to the cops.
What a perfect analogy.
I guess I wouldn't rejoice in a murder, though. So it's a little bit, the analogy breaks down a little bit.
Who's getting murdered?
Let's not get into that. Let's move on to the next tangent or the next choice for New 52 books.
Oh, stray bullets. I found the stray bullet question. Okay, here it is. I spoke with Lapham on IG, and he said he has no plans for any more softbound hardcovers because of the expense. Would you please consider interviewing and entreating him to consider crowdfunding? That is a great idea, to interview him. I'll tell you this, Taylor beats the bushes and busts his butt to try to find people for us to interview. Other people on the internet have access that we don't. I know one popular friend of mine actually has a publicity agent now that helps him get people. We don't have that. I have the Minister of Comics, and almost every guest we've interviewed, I think I've gotten 2, he's gotten the other 20, because he's tracked them down and worked his butt off to find them. It's hard. I would love to interview Chip Zdarsky, but it's hard to get a hold of him. Tom Taylor, I would love to interview him. But again, if you don't have an in with Marvel or DC at this point, I approached Tom King and he gave me the name of his publicist, and his publicist never got back to me. Yeah,
I think hopefully whenever we can start doing conventions again in the future, we can talk to creators face to face at some point, and that would be helpful.
Yeah.
But we don't really have that option right now. So all I really have is if the best is whenever their email is available, but that's like 10%, maybe 5% of the creators that I see. So trying to message them on Instagram is hard because they're not friends of you. They don't really see your message pop up unless they're checking their unread messages from people who are outside of their friend network. So it can be hard. It can be challenging sometimes, but we've gotten some good ones in the past year and a half.
Yeah, we have, and that's because of your hard work, and I appreciate it. Hi, Glenn. How's it going? We can try David Lapham, and I can say, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Lapham? I've always said Lapham.
Lapham.
I bet Cycle Cleveland knows. Cycle Cleveland, how do you pronounce David Lapham? Cycle knows everything. You're saying Tom Taylor would be down for an interview? I say, help me get him.
I say I've tried.
Yeah, I tried too. He liked and commented on one of my Instagram things. I immediately wrote back to him and implored him to do an interview, and I never heard from him. He and Chip Zdarsky are my top 2 choices to interview. I would love for both of us to interview those two.
And yeah, I feel like I've kind of taken a break recently because I've kind of hit a wall in some ways. And there's 2 big creators. I don't want to call them out because they're busy people. I'm not trying to act like their lives all circle around me. There's a couple people I was really excited about, and they were interested, but they kind of haven't gotten back to me in the past couple months. So that happens. You beat the bushes, like Jess said. Sometimes you get some people. Sometimes you get a no, and sometimes you get a later, and later never comes. So it can be challenging.
How about Hellcat? Is it okay to ask about that now? You mean Patsy Walker, Hellcat? Sure, ask about her. But it's fine. You can ask whatever you want.
Are you a fan of the character?
Yeah. Yeah, I like her. I don't know that I've read a ton of her, but I like her. I will say my number 5 book is I, Vampire, which sadly only got 3 trades. I think the first one is hard to find now. If I'll put links in the description, and if you go to Amazon and you can find a third-party seller, this is generally, if Half Price Books is a seller of a trade paperback, it will generally they will always say good, no matter what. Half Price Books always says good for their stuff. But if you can order from them, boy, the artwork is really good in I, Vampire. Paperbacks generally come almost brand new, usually from Half Price Books. I just got a completely torqued Avengers Standoff hardcover from them. I can't get mad at them because they said it was good, and that's the condition it showed up in. But I will put Amazon links in here so you guys can search for these. I, Vampire is a great vampire story, and it was the first thing I think I had ever read by Joshua Hale Fialkov and the famous Andrea Sorrentino that everybody thought was a woman, and it turns out, of course, it's an Italian man. So the art is fantastic, and it got dropped after, I don't know, 18 issues or something. This is the best vampire story you're going to read. Another kudos to DC for letting this story be told.
Yeah, I'm surprised this was one of the 52 in the launch. Like, what is like DC about this book? Why wasn't it a Vertigo book?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, because Vertigo was alive and well when the new 52 was being printed.
I didn't know if there's like some superheroes who pop in every once in a while, or if it's totally separate from other characters.
Batman makes an appearance in this. Maybe that's why.
It's kind of like Swamp Thing back in the day, where the beginnings of Sandman, where you see some random DC characters pop in, but it's not really tied to anything.
This not only deserves a hardcover, at the very least, it deserves to be reprinted, because everybody should be able to read this. It is such a great vampire story For hundreds of years, vampire Andrew Bennett kept mankind safe from the horrors of the supernatural world thanks to a truce he made with his ex-lover Mary, the Queen of Blood. But now the truce has reached a bloody end, and Andrew must do everything in his power to stop Mary and her dark forces from wreaking havoc on an unwitting human populace.
Could that be more of a Jess Bragg book? I don't think so.
Right.
Could that be less of a Tyler Blunt book? I don't think so.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Here's the Patsy Walker question. I haven't read anything with her, but it looked good. So my question was if I should get them. Sorry, Hunter Rose, get what? I love Patsy Walker. Does she actually? What are you looking for to get by her? And then I'll tell you if you should get it. If it's a modern take on her, you should get it. If it's the old stuff, it's probably going to be too old for you. Like her Bronze Age stuff, I can read it, but I doubt somebody like Taylor would enjoy it.
Screaming Fingers has a good question.
You found are what are the 4 trades you found? Tell me the titles and when they were. What? Tell me the titles of the books you found and what era they are.
This is like who's on first.
If they're modern, you're gonna like them because those are good books. But I think of everything in terms of whether Taylor or not. Taylor's probably the typical modern reader who wouldn't enjoy early Bronze Age or any of Silver Age. And so I assume you're like that, Hunter. And so no, you're right. I apologize. Leslie Nielsen is much better as Dracula than iVampire. Leslie Nielsen in anything funny is funny.
It's funny how the turn his career took with Airplane and Naked Gun. All of a sudden, he was in parody movies. That's all he was in.
Yeah, he was the bad guy in Barbara Streisand movie right after the Airplane franchise. And then during the Naked Gun, it was called Nuts. And she was a high-priced hooker, which is already suspending disbelief that Barbara Streisand would be a high-priced hooker. And he's the bad guy that she kills. And Richard Dreyfuss is her lawyer, and she's acting nuts. And that's what the title of the movie is, Nuts. And it's not funny. I mean, it's not a comedy. She won't talk for like the entire trial. And he's saying Richard Dreyfuss is trying to get her off on an insanity plea or something. But it was weird. My point is, it was weird seeing Leslie Nielsen actually act and be the bad guy while we're used to him being the funny guy in those other movies.
Yeah, he's always going to be Frank Drebin to me.
Yeah. Yes, I have read. Have you read Something is Killing the Children?
I haven't. I keep waiting for Boom to do a hardcover. I feel like they're definitely going to do a hardcover of it. I'll have to buy it right when it comes out.
I think you're right. Cade, it's fantastic. I think the longer it goes on, the better it's going to get because we're going to find out more about who she works for and who she really is and what these creatures are really all about. That book's on fire, though, and I guarantee you it is going to get that I guarantee, yeah, Hunter Taylor's right. It's going to get a hardcover.
I'm still disappointed that Boom hasn't made a Bone Parish hardcover. I love that series.
Oh, Bone Parish is great.
And I read it digitally, so I keep holding out, but I doubt it's going to happen at this point. I might just buy the trades.
I'm like 10 years junior to you, so I guess I'm Bronze Age. Is there so many Hellcat trades floating around that it's like throwing a stick into a stadium? If a tangent achieved. I would say get him, Hunter Rose. Patsy Walker is a cool character. I like her a lot. So I would say if you found 4 that look interesting to her, you should get them. Not the start of New 52, but I thought the Lemire Sorrentino portion of Green Arrow was fantastic. It was my introduction into Jeff Lemire. That might have been my introduction to Jeff Lemire too. I've always associated that with New 52. Was that pre New 52?
No, it is New 52 because Ann Nesenti started out the run. And everyone hated it. And then he kind of came in and redid a bunch of stuff. And he was
not the start of New 52. Okay.
Right. He's not the start of the New 52. But I do love that deluxe hardcover that I have. It's definitely in my top 10 New 52. It's like really, it probably is 6 or 7. I really love that story. I do too. Well, let me get to my third pick. So my third is Aquaman by Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
And I love this. This is one of Jeff Johns' best, I would say. I don't know if this is probably Gio's favorite Aquaman, I would think.
Well, it totally legitimized Aquaman as a character.
Right. And I love Ivan Reyes. I don't know how to say his name, and I'm sure Omar could say it much better than I could. I love his art in this book. It's fantastic. A lot of it's kind of the blueprint for the Aquaman movie, and I'm pretty sure this omnibus is out of print. Could you speak to that, Jess?
I'll check right now.
But yeah, this is a great story. It's the only Aquaman book I even have in my collection. I would like to pick up more, but DC's been really awkwardly collecting Aquaman for the past probably how many years the character's been around, but especially recently.
80.
Right. So, I mean, I know you're upset about the Kelly Sue DeConnick stuff, how it was hardcover and now it's paperback, I believe.
Actually, Aquaman by Jeff Johns is available for $50 on Amazon.
Definitely jump on that if you don't have it then. That's a great price.
Yeah, it's a $75 book. I'll make sure I put that in the description so you can check it out.
Let me check some of the other sites, see if they have it. I just assumed it was out of print, but maybe it's not.
Here, Lethal Protector Venom has an answer for you, Hunter Rose. Are the trades titled Patsy Walker Hellcat or just Hellcat? The former is very recent stuff. The latter is older. But, Hunter Rose, if you're my age or in my age-ish ballpark, you'll probably like either title. Then, if you're able to read Bronze Age and be happy. I don't think the modern reader could read. I think T-Lar Blunt just read the Moon Knight omnibus, and that's the beginning of Moon Knight, which I love. But I think Tyler had. I don't think it was the smoothest ride for him.
You like the tax part, the tax guy who shows up.
There's all the Moon Knight stuff. I should do a video on Moon Knight because I have just about all of it. That's probably the only how did we get on Moon Knight? I'll just go. Moon Knight, that Moon Knight omnibus is probably the least accessible of the Moon Knight things that are collected because it's his beginning in the Bronze Age. All the modern stuff, almost all of it, is at least really good to fantastic.
I haven't read the Max Bemis stuff yet. That comes after the Lemire run.
Right. Max Bemis. How do I have that?
But if you want to jump into Moon Knight, I would definitely say jump into Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
And then there's Cullen Bunn.
It goes Ellis Wood Bunn.
And then Lemire.
Right.
But of those, the Ellis and Lemire stuff are the best.
There's also good. I happen to like Brian Michael Bendis' Moon Knight. The best Moon Knight is a few years old now, and I think it's getting reprinted, and that is the Houston stuff.
That's your favorite Moon Knight stuff.
Wait, it's not Houston. I said it wrong. Wait, what? What is this stuff?
What's going on over there?
I don't know. Benson. Charlie Houston. Okay, Charlie Houston. Yes. Huston. That's my problem. Because I don't know how to say it. Huston. Then it goes to Benson. All these books. I think these are getting either an omni or a hardcover or something. The Huston stuff is some of the best Moon Knight out there that you can read. When was this written? This is fairly recent. 2006. Yeah, this is highly readable. And okay, I'm going to do a Moon Knight guide. Okay. So, All-Star Western, iVampire. Demon Knights got kicked out of the top 5 in favor of Red Lanterns, but I'm going to show it anyway. This was a great take because it takes the demon back to those like the King Arthurian knights, King Arthur and the Round Table, like era of England. The Horde of the Questing Queen. So anyway, Merlin's the one that bonded the demon to Jason Blood, and this is that story. These are 3 trades. Again, the first one's probably hard to find. The other 2 may have various points of them of toughness of being found. It goes 23 issues, which is actually pretty good for a title like Demon Knights. But it all deals with Avalon and that era of England's history when the demon was first created.
Yeah, and Etrigan shows up in the New 52 Swamp Thing by Charles Soule. He's a part of that series. And you're also going to like the Etrigan episode on Batman, the animated series. I know we both love Etrigan and Batman Damned.
Yeah. Wasn't he a rapping guy or something?
Yeah, his big thing is rhyming, so he made him a rapper in that book.
Oh.
We're all still waiting for that radio show, Jess.
I know. It's like herding cats on Omni Bros.
What's it been? A year and a half at this point?
I think it's been 2.5 years. Let's see. So I think that leaves 2 books for me, even though I've shoved an extra one in there.
Steve Clifton just bought the Aquaman omnibus on our recommendation.
Good.
Also,
awesome.
It's also on It's also on Cheap Graphic Novels for $48. So you can get it on Amazon or Cheap Graphic Novels.
Right. Good. That's good that it's still available. Demon Knights is pretty expensive now. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, you may have to put a camel thing out for it on Amazon and wait till a third-party seller comes in at a reasonable price and jump on it, and camel will alert you.
DC did make a lot of people happy this past week with all their well, they didn't really do any announcements. We all had to announce it for them, basically.
Right.
We saw it in the Penguin Random House catalog, but there are definitely a lot of exciting stuff coming up that people are really happy about.
Tilar Blunt says, guys, my wife is watching for the first time while we build a desk. She's watching your show before mine. She should.
Wow.
She should. That way she'll actually learn about comics instead of your crazy theories, Tyler.
And Jenny, I love your Facebook page because I love your stories. You make fun of Tyler. I have missed that you haven't done one like in a month where you make fun of Tyler. So if you could do one soon, I would be really happy about that.
I agree.
I speak for Jess, I'm sure, as well.
Totally. I love Bluntly Living. Here's a plug for Bluntly Living on Facebook and Instagram.
We should just arrange a roast of Tyler, and she could be the MC. That would be awesome.
Travis Gilmer popping in. Dude, those solicits were so good. The amount of volume 2s was crazy. Volume 2, I never thought Snyder's Batman would see volume 2. I am the first to admit. So I'm happy to be wrong there.
So maybe we will get that metal omnibus that Snyder promised you 4 years ago.
I think it was 4 years ago. 2017. Yeah, it was 4 years ago.
And that Justice League Dark, I think, is going to be the biggest DC omnibus yet. That's 1,600 some pages, which is insane.
Yeah, are we sure that that's really real?
Well, the price doesn't make sense. Because it's a really, there's a lot of issues in there. There's a huge chunk of issues. I think the price is incorrect.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to end up being $150 cover or $125. Definitely not $100. So either way, it's either going to be shorter and that price, or it's going to be longer and have a bigger price. There's no way it's 1,600 pages and $100 cover. That's not possible. There's no way.
Okay, wait 1 second. Jenny, Tyler says she's dying laughing and said this is the best show she's ever seen. Again, how could she say that after seeing my channel?
We just want to give people what they want, and apparently what they want is us ragging on Tyler, so we're going to do more of that because he made me promote his channel earlier. He forced me. He made me. He had blackmail against me, so I'm definitely into roasting him right now. I'm surprised Tyler hasn't called in yet. Usually he calls in by this point, especially if we're talking about him.
Okay. I'm doing one thing here. You know how good I am at multitasking.
Well, do you want me to talk about my next book while you look?
Yeah, go.
So my number 2 is probably a lot of people's number 1, and that's Batman by Scott Snyder. And I love this series, especially the first book, Court of Owls. I'm sure everyone in the chat has already read once, twice, many times. I think this is the book that helped me get back into comics. This and American Vampire really got me back into comic collecting big time back in 2014, right after I got married. I always tell my wife, I'm like, you really hit the jackpot. You didn't know I read comics till after we got married. And then I got into it. I did the old bait and switch there. But this is a fantastic story. I love Court of Owls, Death of the Family, Endgame. I know a lot of people are kind of cold on the end of the run. I still think it was good. It wasn't the best. It wasn't better than this stuff, but it definitely starts out on a strong note. And it's definitely good to great throughout the entire run. And so if you somehow haven't read this yet, I don't know, is the volume 1 omnibus still in print, Jess? Do you know?
I will check right now because I had that same question.
Because volume 2 will be coming out sometime this year. I think it's at the end of this year.
Batman.
Hayden McGee says, I still think we should get Tyler's wife back on Super Squad D so she can unbox his next big haul and decide what he gets to keep. That would be a fantastic video. That would get thousands of views.
Has she been on Super Squad D?
They reviewed WandaVision together because she watched that with him. And finally, there was some charisma on the channel. Finally, some personality.
She is the spark plug in that relationship. It is still for sale undercover on Amazon, volume 1. So it's not out of print. It's not a huge discount, but that is a surprise to me because I thought it was out of print. Oh, whoa! Am I supposed to be hooking everybody up here? I've got I've got the Omni Bros Patreon. There's Lou. There's Gabe. Oh.
This is a family show.
So you guys are watching?
Well, we're on your show now.
Okay.
We just wedding crashed your party here.
Did you guys
Happy
pay someone off
birthday.
to get the link?
Thank you.
Let me see real quick. I'm trying to figure something out.
Did you guys pay someone off to get the link to this stream?
No, I just sent Jess a text message of me with no shirt on. Are you guys coming in?
You want me to?
Martian, Jaime, come on, let's do this. There we go. Get everybody in, Jess. Let everybody in.
I'm trying.
Open door.
Hello,
Open
Jess.
door. Like, come on.
I don't think you can have more than 6, right?
No, you have 10.
I don't see. Wait a minute. Jamie's device is Jaime is not connected. He's appearing, but he's not connected. And I don't. It's weird. I can't get down to whoever this person is.
I mean, I just put the link on our Facebook group, so it could be anybody.
Yeah, we were watching you, Jess. There you are. There.
Oh, wow. On the big screen.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Happy birthday, Jess.
Thank you.
There we go.
There we go. Happy birthday, Jess.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Happy
it.
birthday,
Birthday
to you.
Wanda wants to
Happy
greet you, Jess.
birthday
There.
to you.
There.
Happy birthday, dear Omni Dog.
Happy birthday
Day to you.
And
Thank
many
you.
more on Channel
Thank
4.
you very much.
Scooby-Doo on Channel 2. Right? No.
There.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody crashing the channel. The show is being invaded.
Let's do like Marilyn Monroe now. Happy birthday, Mr. Bragg.
Okay, this part of the show is over. Thanks, guys, for appearing, and we will see you at another time.
Bye, everyone who I had no idea who you were.
I'm not letting you back in. Stop appearing. Stop appearing.
Did you miss the campfire for this?
I did, yeah. I didn't know it was tonight. I thought it was some other night because it didn't. Well, after this, I'm going upstairs to celebrate the rest of my birthday with my wife. So, yeah, I did miss the campfire for this.
Well, tomorrow is actually Jess's birthday, but you can give him happy birthdays today.
We're celebrating. We're celebrating today and tomorrow because my daughter got to come over to the house for the first time since October. So we were maskless outside. We've all had our first shots, and she kept her mask on inside, but my wife and I were maskless inside. And so we're going to have 2 days of celebration because last time we didn't get to, we haven't seen each other really since COVID hit. We didn't celebrate Christmas or Thanksgiving together, and we didn't celebrate our birthdays or Mother's Day, all the holidays we missed. So that's why we're trying to make this a 2-day event.
You missed Festivus too?
I celebrated that with you, but it was over here, as everything is.
And Psycho Cleveland says we're celebrating the halfway point of Jess's life.
From
your lips to God's ears.
Let's see. Thank you, Hunter Rose. I appreciate that. Jess, did you get Batgirl Bronze Age Omnibus Volume 2? You probably did. I did not. I recently just bought the Batman Golden Age Omnibus and will probably read them when I'm retired. Well, I'm retired and I'm thinking about selling them, to be honest with you. I don't know that I'm going to read them. The Minister of Comics, Man 40, has convinced me that I'm probably better off selling them. I'm probably really not going to read them. I mean, if you look at all this stuff, I'm going to read all this before I go to Golden Age Superman or Batman.
Yeah, part of purging is it's difficult. It's not easy, and so that's a difficult decision. But I think that's the best option for you right now, the space that you have.
Right.
Being realistic about what you're actually going to read, not what you're nostalgic for, and because it was important to you. I mean, that's that definitely goes into the running, but nostalgia isn't enough. You have to at least reread it.
And
if you're willing to reread it.
I don't know that I'm that excited to read all. I'd much rather have Silver Age Batman and Superman and Bronze Age Batman and Superman to read. I would really read that.
Well, I think you kind of made the decision for you with what you just said. You're not excited to read it. You shouldn't have anything. You shouldn't have anything in your collection that doesn't excite you. What's the point?
Right.
If it doesn't excite you, and if you're not looking forward to reading it, it needs to go. For me too. There's some books I'm getting rid of soon too that I just don't care. I don't really want it anymore. So we'll see if those ones go sometime soon.
I am going to keep all the other ones like the Adam Strange, Suicide Squad, Doom Patrol's great. Supergirl I'm going to keep because I love it. Legion of Superheroes I'm going to keep because I love it. But that's Silver Age stuff. So,
well, Silver Age is more of your where you grew up. I mean, you didn't grow up in the Golden Age.
No,
Jess isn't 90 years old. He's not celebrating his 90th birthday right now. So he grew up in the Silver Age. So I definitely see why you want to keep that stuff.
Right.
It's like for many people, the 90s is like their Silver Age for you, and they want to keep those books in their collection because that's what they read growing up. I think people have a hard time getting rid of things that they grew up reading as kids.
Right. Which is the Silver Age for me. Yeah. What I'm down to, one book or two books? I'll just mention Voodoo. This is another one that I appreciated that DC took a chance on. Priscilla Catan, aka Voodoo, is a half Damonite alien hybrid on the run from. I haven't read this in years. Gosh, this was good. I remember loving this. Who is intent on dissecting her and blah, 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 blah. Voodoo must use all of her considerable skills, including shape-shifting, to complete a mission that will put the entire Earth in danger of alien invasion. Along the way, she faces off with Green Lantern Kyle Rayner and journeys to Damonite spaceship to gather information on Earth's heroes. Is she humanity's worst nightmare, or will she be our last hope? I loved this book when it first came out. I haven't read it since then. I've forgotten all about this, but I really loved Voodoo. Ron Mars wrote, I think, the first one. Josh Williamson wrote, I think, 2 and 3. But I give credit to DC for putting out a book like Voodoo. I forgot how much I really loved this book and the art. Oh, I'm leaving this out to read again. That and I Vampire, I think I really, really want to read again. And Demon Knights, kind of.
I never heard of Voodoo before. I didn't know that even existed.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know. This is one of those ones that got chopped early. This particular book was printed in 2011 and 2012. So that's 9 years ago. That's old for a trade to stay not in print, but it's old for a toss away DC paperback to stay cheap, I think. This is worth hunting down and deserves to be reprinted. I've forgotten so much of it now that I need to reread it, but I remember I loved it, reading it in singles. So if you can find it from Half Price Books or something, this is a book that's really worth hunting. I would say this is probably my number 4 pick, even though I've forgotten all of it.
So my number 1 pick is another Batman book, and it's one of my favorite Batman series, and that's Batman and Robin by Peter Tomasi.
Oh yeah, that's a great book.
I think this book was sadly overlooked in the shadow of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's run, which I think is fantastic. I just think this one was really overlooked, especially this verse volume, Nobody. This is one of my favorite top 10 Batman stories of all time. I think I know this might be sacrilege to some, but Damian Wayne's my favorite Robin. I think he's the most interesting. I think he's had the best character arc, and seeing him going from a murderous, brash child to a mature young man who actually respects his father, respects his father's wishes. And the second volume of this is one of my favorite single issues of all time, where it's all a silent issue of Batman mourning a tragic loss. I mean, it's been 10 years. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read it, but I'm sure most people know what I'm talking about there. And I love towards the end of the run where Batman dons the Hellbat suit and goes to Apocalypse to fight against Darkseid.
That's an awesome moment in comics history.
And I think another really underrated moment in that run is Batman just had it with Damian. He's so frustrated with him. Damian's kind of gone off and escaped from the house. He finds him, he yells at him, and Damian just says, "Father, I found your mother's pearls." He found that one pearl in the sewer.
Oh,
And
wow.
he hugs him and says, I'm so
Forgot
proud
about that.
He hugs him and says, "I'm so proud of you." And reading this run again a second time was so much more impactful for me because I have a son. And so I can kind of put that relationship onto Batman and Damian. And I just get so much out of it. Even I think Tomasi is the best writer of fathers and sons in superhero comics. His work with Jonathan and Clark and Superman Rebirth is also phenomenal. He just understands that relationship to a T. And so I think this run just has that sentimental value for me of seeing Batman truly try to be a father, because Bruce Wayne doesn't have the best track record with fathering, orphan children, but he has another chance with Damian. And he's been so shaped by his mother, and Batman tries to break that training to make him a human being who actually cares for people, and he succeeds. And that's an awesome, awesome storyline.
Lloyd Wong brings up a good point. I did not know Voodoo was from Wildcats. I knew Grifter was, that Lloyd brings up, but I didn't read any Wildcats, so I didn't know that.
She's a Wildstorm character.
Yeah. I've just now started getting into earlier Authority, and so I'm shooting off from that and starting to want to read earlier Wildcat stuff. Of course, now it's hard to find and expensive, but now I'm interested in it. And I didn't know that Voodoo was a Wildcats character. That is cool. That's really cool to know. Here's Brett with a good point. The 5 issues of Batman and Robin, where each one was one of the 5 stages of death or grieving, was brilliant. That's a good observation.
Yeah, the whole run is fantastic.
Yeah. I guess my number one pick that I'm down to is Justice League. And I already said it. So I already talked about it at the beginning of the show. So it doesn't count. I've already had 5 or 6 choices. I've lost count.
And there's definitely some crossover between our lists, but we wanted to make sure we didn't have the same exact choices. So I'm sure Batman would be on your list by Scott Snyder.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure Wonder Woman would also be on your list. So there's some crossover there.
Everything you listed was absolutely great. I agree with it. I did not read Future's End. I refused.
Yeah, I got to the end of Charles Soule's run, and there's like the ending issue with issue 40, then there's a Future's End issue. And I started reading it, and I'm like, why am I reading this? This doesn't matter or anything. I'm like, I'm just going to skip this. It doesn't even matter.
They showed me, I can't remember, it was like, I saw Frankenstein had Black Canary's head implanted in his chest or something, and I was like, what? They were like, look at this is so awesome. And I thought, I don't think this is for me. It's okay if everybody else is happy with it, but I didn't dig it. And
I'm gonna give Psycho Cleveland a comment from The Big Lebowski. Well, yeah, that's like your opinion, man. Batman overrated. The Batman by Snyder was overrated.
Well, yeah, that's just your opinion, man.
You're out of your element, Cycle. That's one of my favorite lines in movie history. You're out of your element, Donnie.
Shut up, Donnie. Walter, you have everything up. His ashes blow all over the wall.
I had to rewatch that.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie so much. Well, we stayed on topic pretty much the whole show, so I apologize to the tangent lovers, but we talked about New 52 the whole show. I remember Hawk and Dove was done by Rob Liefeld, and I even read that.
Wow, you really were a fan.
Yeah. I remember reading Grifter. I remember reading Stormwatch. That was my first Stormwatch, and that shouldn't have been, because obviously that was the carryover from earlier Stormwatch Authority and stuff. I actually should go back and read that New 52 Stormwatch now that I know what the heck is going on.
I didn't know there was a New 52 Stormwatch. Do you remember who it was by?
No, let's see. It's probably easier to ask the chat. Who was the New 52 Stormwatch by, and how long did it last?
Did you hear about the Superman and the Authority miniseries that's by Grant Morrison and Mikhail Yanin?
Has that happened?
Or I guess it's going to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen. No, I didn't know about that. Where is that?
I just heard about it recently.
Oh.
It was in DC's like recent solicits for single issues.
Oh, interesting.
That'll be interesting.
Superman and the Authority.
I don't really put Superman and the Authority together, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. I guess him and Apollo are similar in their power sets.
Yeah, I don't think I like that crossover. But
I just want more authority. That's all I want.
Yeah.
So if this opens the door to more authority, then I'm excited about that.
The man that knows everything except his opinion on Batman, says Paul Cornell wrote it. And Marcelo, I remember that. Martian Manhunter was in Stormwatch. I do remember that in the New 52 Stormwatch.
Yeah, Cycle, I'll defer to you when it comes to Swift Ring Walls. And I was talking to Tyler Blunt earlier. He was trying to guess my list, and he said, "Is Green Lantern on your list?" I said, "Well, I don't really consider Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run I mean, it's part of the New 52, the very end, but it's not a reboot. It's pretty much the continuation of all the work he'd done before on the character. So I don't even consider that a big New 52 book. You know what I mean?
Green Lantern?
Yeah, Green Lantern. It was just a continuation. But then it was taken over by somebody else, and I didn't read it after that point. So I don't really consider Jeff Johns' New 52 Green Lantern like a huge New 52 title. It was just the conclusion to his huge saga.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier in the show, Marcelo. We didn't particularly care for either of those. We both liked Superman Unchained, and along with you, I think we're the only three people in this broadcast that like Superman Unchained. But I mean, I'd read Superman Unchained a lot all the time. The artwork's fantastic, and I thought Snyder's story was good too.
I know we want to do a similar episode on Rebirth titles at some point as well. Our favorite Rebirth books.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on which is your favorite era of DC? Rebirth or New 52? Or is that too hard of a question because you like different things about each?
Well, I like Superman Rebirth a lot better than New 52 Rebirth. Tom King's Batman, I do like, but it's really different than the New 52. And I do like Josh Williamson's Flash. I could easily have a Rebirth show. Wait, did you ask me which I like better?
I just said can you pick one that you prefer over the other? Is it too hard? I mean, I can understand if you're not sure.
I just like owning both, so I'm okay.
And Brett Eicher has a question about Judge Dredd for you.
Oh, yeah, I got to get on that. Jess, when are we getting a Judge Dredd video? I'm deep in my JD read-through right now. I am about 3/4 of the way through, Brett. It's been a lot longer project than I thought it was going to be. I think I've already said I hit a roadblock when a really important book turned out to be deeply out of print, and way expensive. So I finally read it online. I mean, it was a key book. I had to have it because it's the mutant storyline, the storyline that where Judge Dredd is in favor of mutants getting rights within Mega City 1 equal to everybody else's. So I'm getting close. I should prioritize that now that I'm done with the Dawn of X overview. I should prioritize that. You're right. Yeah, you're right. I got to get going on it because I put not good, Ryan, not good at all. Don't read it. Don't even think about reading it. New 52 Constantine was awful. Back to Judge Dredd. Yeah, I will finish that. I need to get that done. What is this? The end of March? I should dedicate April to finishing that. I will say to you, Brett, and everybody else, I will dedicate April to finishing my Judge Dredd and getting a video out. It may have to be a 2-part video because there's so much material to cover. And I'm just hitting the high points. It's not like I'm going through case files 1 through 36. I'm trying to just pick the high points you can read easily and get the gist of the character and how important the important stories. So yeah, it's been a long it's been a long project.
It almost sounds like trying to collect a manga series that has like 90 volumes.
Yeah, it's got, I think it's up to 30, at least 36.
And they all tie together and they're all like lead into each other, or can you read some of them separately?
Well, that's the idea, is that for the person that looks at like 1 through 36 of the case files, it looks too intimidating for them to get into. And so I want to, but there are also oversized hardcovers and trade paperbacks and stuff that are in color or maybe black and white, but are the highlights, and you don't miss anything. I want to pick the really high points, like America and some of the other books. I mean, I don't know. I'm up to like 20 books now that I'm considering talking about. But the idea is to find a chunk of books people can read without investing all that time and energy and money into case files 1 through 36, because people, if you're like me, you look at 1 through 36 and you just say, I'm not going to invest my time in that, but he's a great character. And if you can read the select volumes I have picked out and just read those, you'll get a great experience and know Judge Manga. I just saw that in the chat. Judge Dredd.
I really want to hear about modern Judge Dredd that I would like, because I don't want to delve back into because it's too much to collect. So hopefully in that video you can address some modern Judge Dredd that I could try to pick up and get into.
Okay, I will keep that in mind.
I can't get in all those books. It's just too much, and I don't have the room for it. But if I can get some good modern stuff, I'm definitely into that.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I love the 2012 Dredd movie.
Yeah, that was a great movie. I'm so glad I stayed up and watched that.
It's fantastic. One of the best action movies of the past 10 years, I think.
I love that movie. I'm so glad that Gabe just badgered me into it.
I tried, but I guess Gabe got the ball into the end zone there.
You tried on Judge Dredd? On Dredd?
I mentioned it a lot. I was like, you need to watch Dredd. You need to watch Dredd.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you're right. You did.
I think Gabe just like pestered you for like an Omni Bros, like the whole episode, and you just finally gave in.
He's been right. He's 2 for 2 on movies for me with Grandma's Boy and Dredd. So, yeah.
2 very different movies, but both entertaining.
Very different. Let's see. There was a real question about from Eric. Should I get Road to No Man's Land Omni or Avengers the Gathering Omni? I personally liked Road to No Man's Land and No Man's Land. I mean, that's a big stretch of comics. That was a lot to read. And I haven't read The Gathering, and I don't intend to read The Gathering. That's not a cast of characters that I'm interested in. If it's the choice between those two, I would get Road to No Man's Land and make sure you get that you have. I think there's a No Man's Land Omni also, right?
Yeah, I think it's getting announced, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that series in particular, so I haven't kept up with it. I'm selling some of the trades that I have of it.
Yeah, so. I know you and I are different, that you didn't like it, and I understand.
Yeah, so I'm getting rid of those, so I can't really speak to the Omnis, but I know a lot of people are excited about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you should get it, but just be prepared that it's going to be a big Omni, and No Man's Land's going to be a big Omni, and it's a huge event in Batman history. Road to No Man's Land is coming in November. Okay.
It's definitely important to at least know what happens in that series, even if you don't read it all the way through.
Yeah. Do you think there's a good chance for Red Hood and the Outlaws Omnibus Volume 2? I don't know. It depends on the sales of that first one, and I'm not a Red Hood and the Outlaws fan. The only thing I've read that I liked was the Rebirth, the first 3 trades, where the Outlaws were the most interesting part.
Wasn't Bizarro on that team?
Sorry?
Wasn't Bizarro on that team?
Yeah, Bizarro and the Amazon, whose name I'm blanking on. I'm sure the chat will just tell me. Amethyst, what's her name? Starts with an A. Go ahead, Cycle Cleveland. Tell me what it is. It's the Amazon that's second to Diana in being famous. But with Bizarro, it was really good.
Do you know what I really want to see, Jess?
It was Artemis. I got it before Mr.
I really want to see Pierre Tomasi do a Bizarro and Bizarro Boy series. Remember how great Bizarro Boy was in Superman Rebirth? That was hilarious. Remember the Damian Wayne from the Bizarroverse?
Yeah.
Yeah, the mustache and everything.
Yeah.
I would love a series about that.
Was that in Metal?
I think it was Superman Rebirth. Remember, there's a whole Bizarro storyline towards the end.
Oh yeah.
That was one of our favorite. That was one of our favorite parts of the series, was the Bizarro stuff.
Yeah. That's right.
We both wanted more of them. It was fantastic.
That's right. Damien had a mustache. That was funny. Anyway, I don't know what the answer is. I would say, depending on sales, Red Hood and the Outlaws could get a second Omni. DC's putting out a bunch of stuff now that everybody wanted, and so I don't know what happened at DC. All of a sudden, things got shaken up, and now they're putting out things that everybody wants. So I think it's great for everybody.
The one guy in the collected editions department just finally said, I guess I should do my job.
I don't think there is a collected editions department anymore.
DC definitely needs some help, that's for sure. And me and Jess are willing to help you, DC. And we could help you. We really would help you.
For free.
Well, payment would be nice, but wait, how about this? Free books.
But I was just going to say, we'll take books in kind, books for payment. But they are, I mean, that new solicitation was amazing. All those books, there was hardly a bum in the lot. I thought almost every single one of them was an excellent decision.
And even if I didn't want them, I knew a lot of other people did.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. You can't just pick all the books that you want and then just get mad at DC for not printing all the things you want. You have to consider everybody else who really wants things that you don't want.
Right.
Like you didn't care about the Nightfall omnibuses, but a lot of people were excited about that when those were announced years ago and they came out.
And apparently they're going for a lot of money on eBay now that they're out of print. Number 3 anyway. No, I wasn't happy for people about Nightfall. I think Nightfall should be erased from continuity.
I'm trying to think of a better example. That was the only one that came to my mind.
Well, it's 9. It's been a 2-hour show. We stayed on topic, and it's unbelievable.
No need for a timestamp, everybody.
What's that? Yeah, no timestamp.
Yeah.
I'll put that in. I'll have to put that in the description that there's no timestamp because we started on time. So wait, let's answer another couple questions. Jess, did you ever read the Batman Silver Age newspaper comics hardcover books? I have a couple of them. This is how old I am. I remember reading those in the newspaper. So yeah, I have read those. They were fun for me as a kid. I don't know that I can recommend them to an adult. That's a nostalgia read for sure.
Psycho Cleveland. Consider what everyone else wants? What? Why? Now that sounds like a Psycho Cleveland comment.
When did you say what your favorite New 52 book was? I think I started out with mine are all jumbled. Why don't we just go over them real quick to end the episode?
The way we went about our list really shows you our personality differences. I went through an order, and Jess just kind of, oh, this is probably number 3. This is probably number 2. Oh, wait, here's more. I'll do more than 5. I'll do 10. So mine is Swamp Thing, both the Charles Soule run and Scott Snyder together. That was number 5. Number 4 was Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang. Number 3 was Aquaman by Jeff Johns. 2 was Batman by Snyder and Capullo. And then 1 was Batman and Robin by Tomasi and Gleason.
And I went Justice League number 1, Red Lanterns number 2. Then I went All-Star Western, I think 3. Demon Knights number 6.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I Vampire 4 and Voodoo 5. And yeah, so those were my choices.
Jess is the Scarlet Witch of both of us. He's the chaos magic user. I'd be the orderly magic user, whichever comic book equivalent that would be. Maybe Zatanna.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe Zatanna. So, Minister of Comics, where can they find you on social media?
Well, that's a great question, Jess. You can find me at Minister of Comics on Instagram, where I post hauls, I post reviews, I post pictures of my action figure photography, and I'm like 20 people away from 800 followers. So,
oh my goodness!
If you could do me a favor and go and follow my page, and we could hit 800 tonight, that would be fantastic. And I love to interact with people. I try to do polls. I do Q&As. I love to hear comments. I try to end a lot of my posts with questions so I can interact with you guys in the comments. So I'd love to see you guys there.
And his link will be in the description.
Awesome. Thank you.
His Instagram page, post, thing. And you can find me, OmniDog, here on OmniDog's Vault on YouTube. And I am also on Instagram. I am OmniDogs_Vault. Here's a legit question. Jess, did you not like Nightfall when it was releasing, or was it something you realized years later? I didn't like it when it was released. The reason is I felt like I first of all, I never liked Azrael. I didn't like his character or his character's direction. I didn't like the way Bane sent all the villains to break down Batman till Bane took him on. I felt if Bane wanted to prove himself as the stronger villain, he should have taken Batman on at his strongest. I understand the reason it was written that way, but I don't agree with it. And I also had an extremely hard time with Alfred all of a sudden being a neurosurgeon spine specialist in a sterile, not very sterile environment like the Batcave, knitting him back together. It all.
I've heard that spine surgeries are the easiest of surgeries to perform. So.
Oh well, I look forward to him doing brain surgery next then.
It's like hernia surgery is the easiest, then spinal fusions.
Oh,
so just so you know, Jess, I just want to help you out. Maybe you'll like it now.
That's on me. That's on me. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the whole thing bugged me back in the '90s when I read it, and I just didn't like it then. And I totally understand people liking it because it's the same as my liking Silver Age. Silver Age is ridiculous. I would never make someone read Silver Age anything, but it's nostalgia, and it's what a lot of kids grew up on currently. So I don't judge anybody for liking it. I just personally don't like it. Although everybody knows to, whenever there's a Nightfall mention, my name always gets brought up wherever I am in the country. So,
and on that note,
peace and love, peace and love. Thank you to the chat. The chat was great tonight. Had a lot of lively conversation and a lot of fun. And I appreciate everybody watching this afterwards too. And thank you to the Minister of Comics and for all the Patreon people that party crashed. That was fun. Peace and love, peace and love. We'll see you next time on Omni Dog's Vault.